Go.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Roofers Toolkit live broadcast. Josh, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh man, we're doing good. It's Wednesday. It's made it halfway through the next week, so hopefully
The
15th already.
This was supposed to be tax day, but it got postponed. Thank goodness.
Yeah. So, what's on the agenda today, Josh? What are we talking about?
Yep, my name's Josh, and this is the Roofers Toolkit here with My Roofing SEO. We help roofing companies, restoration companies, and contractors with SEO, PPC, web design, social. But more than that, we're helping people develop their businesses in the way that's going to get them success. And today I want to talk about stop worrying about leads and start worrying about your conversions. We hear so many times about companies that are like lead generation companies that are saying, I can get you 3 to 5 qualified leads. I can get you 10 to 20 qualified leads. I can get you 80 to 150,000 qualified leads per month. What are you going to do with all those leads? Adam, what are you going to do with those leads?
Man, I want to know what the heck it means qualified, right? Because like I hear qualified and I see the same pitches that you do all the time. Man, my LinkedIn is overrun by marketing people going, I can get you more leads, right? Qualified leads is an interesting beast. So, to me, like, I want to know how they're coming up with what is a qualified lead for me.
How does a lead generation company or any marketing company that you work with know if a lead is qualified for you? I mean, a lead's a lead, right? It's a person who says that they need work from you. They're in your area. The question is, where'd the lead come from? How do you handle the lead? What tools are you using to handle this lead? And then how many leads are you actually converting? If you had 80 leads and you convert 5 of them and they're high quality leads, there's obviously a different problem than just getting leads, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's interesting you point that out. They could be in the right area. They could be in the right market. They could be in your target demographic. But quality leads is about leads that are going to convert for you. And so I've seen, especially with everything with COVID going on, a lot of the sales forums are talking about, what am I going to do? I can't go door knock. I can't go do face to face, right? And it's interesting because that's such a big piece from what we've seen of what roofing companies and just in general, construction companies and the trades industry do to generate leads. I think I'd love to hear your thoughts, Josh, on what's the shift from that. How do we break that mold? How do we break that I can only go door to door and get really good leads?
I just thought of another one too. So we're talking about traditional forms of getting leads, right? So door knocking, neighborhood canvassing. Sorry, getting over a cold here, not COVID. I just thought of another one though, like trade shows. How expensive are those, right? You pay $500, $700 for that booth. You got to drive across wherever you're going. It might be a day's drive. You got all these different trade shows. We just talked to somebody the other day that had 3 trade shows in a month. I'm like, why? I'm thinking to myself, why? Like, okay, so who's at the trade shows? People who want to buy cool equipment, see the next latest technology, drill, right? Hot tub, roofing, asphalt, shingle, impact windows, all these different things that they have at the trade show. But it's mostly other businesses. Yep. So, right. So unless you're trying to build a relationship with a supplier down the street, like that's not going to generate business for your company. Right. So like I said, we got traditional door knocking, we got neighborhood canvassing, we got trade shows. And it's like, how do you, as you said, how do you make a shift now, especially when you can't go door to door? You're not going to do trade shows with a social distancing thing going on. So what are you going to do to get those leads? Well, we always say, the internet's not going away anytime soon. In fact, because of everybody staying home and social distancing, it's funny they call it social distancing, but it's like we're all now more social because we're on social. Social media has gone up 40% in the past month because of everybody being home, everybody being using technology. And so that's where your clients now are. They're on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think that's really important. I mean, shoot, what everything that we're doing like starts with I shouldn't say everything, but a lot starts with conversations from social media, conversations from connections that we have on LinkedIn, Facebook, and just getting out there and where do we spend most of our time after we get done working all day? We sit on our phones, we're like this in front of the TV doing Facebook.
Yeah, right? It's like I'm watching a show, but I'm watching a show, but I'm also on Facebook, and I'm also on, and I'm looking up memes, and I'm, it's like you're always connected to some kind of electronic.
Yep. So, so I think it's a great, I think social media right now is a really huge shift. In a good place to start. And the one thing I really want to put on a caveat on that, you're going to hear tons of marketing companies talk about content. And there's no doubt that content is important.
You can do content
just as important. Comments. Right. I would say that of everybody I talk to online, the most people that I get business referrals through is because I was on a post that they were on commenting about something that they cared about.
Right.
Very little to do with what I had to do. And, and just answering a question, providing information, providing support, giving them an avenue to solve something, and just commenting. Matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, I just closed a sale, commented on a guy's post that was asking about a CRM, and just got to chatting with him about what he's doing. He's starting up a new company, and it went from a conversation about just a CRM to everything that he's going to need to do from a marketing standpoint, from a operations standpoint, to really lift his company up and get started. So
and you weren't there just to sell him marketing, right?
No,
you were there to try to help somebody learn more about how to be successful at their business. They want to be able to track customers. They knew the name CRM. They had already gotten that far. It's not like you said, "Hey, have you heard about what a CRM is?" Like, he knew he wanted it. And so then it's like, if we have the knowledge to help people, we could say, "Hey, here's some CRMs to look at. Here's some things that we found that are helpful." It could have led to a sale. It could have not led to a sale, but you were doing it just to help somebody.
Yeah, wholeheartedly. And there's a lot of there's a lot of currency in just building relationships with people, because though they might not use your services today, a year from now, 2 years from now, who's the first person they're going to call if you're always there to answer a question for them? So
yeah, and it's and 70% of people. This is something I learned from another job that I had, but another sales job. But they're like 70% of the people aren't even in the market for what you're offering. 70%. So 7 out of 10 people you talk to don't give a crap. They're not interested. They're not even thinking about it or looking for it. Of the 30%, there's even a smaller percent of people that are even going to buy, and it's like 2% of that 30%. It's very small, maybe 5%. So it's like the whole idea is not to go around like, here's my product, selling it to everybody. It's to be as helpful as possible, because we're all in this together. We're all trying to help each other and succeed. And it's like, if you could provide a nugget that's going to help a company for free, like just helping somebody that's going to help their company be 20% more efficient because you've said, "Hey, have you thought about using a CRM to track your leads?" Oh, and then it's like from there they could do what they want.
Yeah. No, and I think that translates even into when we start talking about like roofing and lead generation and roofing. Like,
Mhm.
Not everybody is sitting there on Facebook going, "Oh crap, I need to find a roofer. I need to find a roofer."
Right.
Do they want you coming onto their feed going, "Buy a roof from me, buy a roof from me, buy a roof
Right.
from me," right? And I don't know about you, there's a lot of power in Facebook ads, but if
Mhm.
I'm specifically looking for something, but weeding through what Facebook ads are actually good ads and what ads are just useless crap that I don't need, sometimes gets frustrating. And
Mhm.
so I'm always looking for the people that are going to provide value and information. So
Yep.
we do this a lot with our clients, and just when we think about content strategies, thinking about what can I put out there that's going to provide value, so that the next time around, instead of having to go sell somebody, they're coming to me going, "Hey, I think I have a problem on my roof. I read your article about,
Mhm.
and I want you to come out and take a look at it."
Yeah, just to clarify, we're not talking about us selling a marketing product to a roofing company. It does happen from our blogs, but we're talking about you as a roofing company answering a question that a customer would have in your sales process, that then gives them that free education, so that when they do talk to a sales rep, or the sales rep reaches out to them because they filled out a lead form, that information has already been obtained, right? So now you can get past the education part of educating your customer, and you can get into, well, the customer said, I've learned about, XYZ, and I know that I want an architectural shingle. What styles do you have? So now it's like, you don't have to go between this tier and this tier and this tier. You're like, they want architectural shingles, or they want a slate tile roof, or they want a flat tile roof. It's like, you've already written about it. They've already learned about it. So now,
Yeah.
and if they're not learning it from your blog, they're learning it from Home Advisor, another place that's just going to sell you a $300 lead when they fill out their form, right? So wouldn't you rather have them come to your site, answer their question on your site, and have them do business with you first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a great call out. So let's talk a little bit about that, right? Because it's not only them seeing your content, it's getting them to come to your site, or getting them to your Facebook page to fill out a form or message you,
Mm-hmm.
some sort of organized outreach. So
Mm-hmm.
what are some strategies that you like, that help get people to actually contact you for sales?
So one of the biggest things I've seen go.
Sorry about that. Hold
Sorry.
on one second.
Daughters. So one of the biggest things I see, we talk about the foundation last week. We talked about some of this stuff, and now we're getting into more detail. Like, one of the biggest things I see people not doing is simply filling out their services on their like their Facebook page.
Yeah.
Fill out the services that you offer, so that somebody could pick, read about the services you offer, and then they could schedule an appointment right there on Facebook. It's one of the biggest opportunities that people aren't doing, and you don't need to pay for it. It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great one. I think the other thing that's really important is, when you're thinking about your social content, your posts, what kind of call to action are you putting on that points them back to contacting you, or filling out a form?
Yeah. What do
Right.
you want them to do, right? Because, like you said, posting just for the sake of posting, it's like, that's great, but like, how many posts? And we could talk about the cocktail party rule, but how many posts do you post of selling your products? How many posts do you post of providing good content? And the rule? Is it cocktail party rule of?
It's like 15, 10 people.
It's close. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's 80-20.
80-20.
So,
There we go.
yep.
Yeah.
So 80% of the time you want to find out about them. 20% of the time you want to talk about you. Is if I say, "Hey Adam, where are you from?" "Oh yeah, yeah. Did you come down here for family?" "Yeah, okay. Like, what do you do?" I'm not talking about myself. I'm learning about you. It's the same on social media. It's the same in sales. You want to find out 80% of your information by asking the right question, not just telling. So if you're doing content, only 20% of the time should you be pushing a product. If you find that every post you're pushing, "Call me now," free estimates, it's just not going to work. And I'm sure roofers out there that have been doing that and have been frustrated. They're like, "Oh, LinkedIn doesn't work, Facebook doesn't work." Well, it's because it works. You're just not using it right. You're not utilizing it.
Yeah, no, I will tell you. So I have a rather large active following on my LinkedIn. So go follow me there. It definitely see all kinds of great content on there. But yeah, one of the things that I get a lot is I get these really cold pitches, and they come from a boatload of industries. But the two primary ones is cryptocurrency and marketing companies. And they're really
cryptocurrency.
they're really cold. You know, they usually start off with, "How are you doing today?" And then the direct next statement that comes out of them is, "We'd like to talk to you about," and fill in the blank, right?
Fill in the blank. Sales pitch.
Yep, sales pitch. And some of them are actually okay sales pitches if they would have actually took the time to qualify me and get to know me as a person. And so,
sure.
You know, so, and then those same people, they're also, if you go to their feed and actually see what they're posting, that's all they post. And they get no engagement, they get no following. You know, everything they do is just pushing a sale, pushing a sale, pushing a sale.
And don't you love when it's in all capitals?
Oh, yeah.
You know, storm damage in your area. And I'm not poking fun of you guys. I'm trying to help you. Like, big bold letters, hailstorm in your area, call now, free estimates, blah, 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 blah. Like, you're yelling at people. It's like, okay, like, I understand that, and we know you can help, but if you had done the foundational stuff, if you had gotten yourself out there in the community before, so it's the difference between being reactive and proactive, right?
Yep.
Like, say one of your workers slips and falls off a roof. That's reactive, right? Because now you gotta, how did they fall off a roof? What happened? Oh, you gotta take care of them, as opposed to, following safety guidelines. And there's some big roofing companies that are, they're bigger out there, and they have safety training classes. So they're proactive, not reactive. It's the same thing when a storm comes. So if you've established your brand in the area, if you've educated people, if you've done the foundational stuff to get yourself out there, then you don't have to be like, oh my gosh, the storm just hit, call us now. Because you're going to be top of mind. You're going to be first when something like that happens. They're going to call you. What do you think about that?
No, I love that. I love that philosophy. So I always liken it. I always relate it to dig your well before you're thirsty.
Yeah, right? That's a good one. I like that.
It's just the premise of, I want to build all that social collateral before I absolutely need it, before I need it to really make an impact in whatever I'm trying to do, whether it be sales, whether it be outreach, whether it be, business development, whatever it might be. I want to make sure I have that well in place far before I ever need it. And what happens is when you do need something, or, when those big storms come, when the season changes and now it's time to hammer down and get business rolling, instead of having to go hunt at that moment and go find people, now you already have that well of people. You can go, hey, so, you've been following our content. We'd love to come out and just give you a free inspection on your roof, tell you what opportunities may exist this season for you as you build as you get through the year here. It's just taking like Josh said, that proactive approach to it and having that in place before you absolutely need it. When a storm happens, same thing. Everybody can think about you.
Sorry a sec. And you can do that. Just to be clear, like, you can do the proactive stuff, building your brand, doing the education and all that, while you're, of course not during COVID, but once, before and after this, while you're door knocking, while you're doing traditional marketing, you're still building that. So we're not saying don't get any sales, don't work for, sales the traditional way, or, do referrals or door knocking, just do this. We're saying add it to your repertoire of how you get leads in. And then, so we've talked about, what a real qualified lead means a little bit. We talked about, the kind of flashy, hey, how many leads I can get you. But again, the whole topic of this video is like, stop worrying about the amount of leads, start worrying about conversion. So once, they've built the brand and they're getting leads in the door, it doesn't matter if they have 40 leads, 80 leads, 200 leads, or whatever somebody can promise them. It's what they do with those leads. So I'd like to talk about a little bit about, sorry, handling the actual leads when they come in. Like, how do you handle a lead when it comes in? What's the process? How would you break that down into the different systems?
Yeah. So, I mean, number one, right, I think is really, it's really about organizing your leads as they come in, right? And so there's a ton of tools out there, everything from the old school guys that manage it on a spreadsheet, which is totally cool as long as you're managing it, to the new modern systems, the new modern CRM systems. And we talked about a couple of those last week.
Yep.
So definitely go check that video out if you want to hear about those, or contact us. We've done the research. But using those tools to really understand what your leads are that are coming in, right? Because a lot of times, especially with like website leads, we build our websites to work with our customers so that those leads can just dump right into their CRM tool. So they don't even have to do anything with it except go into their CRM and get the information out.
So just to be clear, like somebody goes to the website because they're typing in my roof is leaking or asphalt shingle repair or something. They find your blog, they go to the blog and they see, contact us or if you want a free inspection, click here on your website. They click it, they go to a form, they fill out the form. That information then gets imported straight away to your CRM. You could also get a text message on your phone and an email that lead came in. So then the question is, are you following up with those leads in a timely fashion? Now, this is, again, to be helpful and not to pick on anybody, but I'm finding that some roofers get so many leads that they just can't handle them all, right? There's no process or system so, they may handle 1 out of 5 leads, and then the rest of them they can't even get to because they're either, and we'll talk about this, but they're on the phone, with the customer trying to figure that one out while the other 5 have to wait till the next day. Well, then you got another 5 leads in the next day and you only get to one of them. So you're only handling whatever 1 out of 5 is, 15%, something like that. 20%. Yeah. Sorry. 20% of the leads that come in the door. So then the thing is, so you need less leads and more lead management, handling it, And so I'm going off on a tangent here, but the idea is, so the leads come into the form, and then from that CRM, you can then delegate who the lead goes to. So it shows up in the CRM and you have your sales team. So then you can say, Bob gets this lead, John gets this lead, Dale gets this lead, and they call them right then and there and qualify the client. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Sorry, I'm jumping around, but with any kind of sales lead that you get into your business, any business, doesn't matter if you're a roofer or a doctor or dentist or whatever you're doing. If you contact that lead within 5 minutes, your percent of closing the sale goes up like 1,500%. It's insane. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten back to somebody in like 2 to 3 minutes from a text message, like text them back and be like, got your message, would love to chat, or an email back. And they're like, wow, you guys are on top of it. You answered our lead quickly. We were expecting, to hear from you the next day or whatever. And it's like, not because you're desperate for business, but it's like, you want to give that top-notch customer service. So then they know if they do business with you, you're going to be on top of things just because of the fact that you got back to them within a few minutes. So sorry, that was kind of a tangent, but it's really important.
No, yeah. I agree. And I think what you do in that initial contact is important too. Yeah. Because, time is money, right? So sales guys is sales in whatever industry you're talking about. When you're talking about going out and selling on physical locations, takes a lot of time, especially if you're in places like Miami, Detroit, New York City, where travel time could be as much as an hour or 2 between appointments.
Just to get to the house. Yeah.
Just to get to a house. Right. So for that, like, I really think it's super important that you make a call to that customer, start educating them on the phone, qualify them. And this is where setting up a system comes into play. If you ask the same 3 or 4 qualifying questions on every single call, and depending on your business, those questions change and stuff. But if you ask the same questions on every call to qualify a customer, you're going to save yourself so much time to understand, first of all, am I going to waste my time by even going out to their house because they're not ready to buy? Second of all, I can bring out exactly what they're looking for. So if they're looking for a full tear off and they want a metal roof instead of an asphalt roof, well, I can bring I can bring some metal product samples with me, and that customer is going to be super impressed because I came prepared to the appointment, right?
And it's just 3 to 5 questions to ask them.
Yeah, it's just a couple of questions. You know, you don't want to overwhelm them. You're not, you know, this isn't like an interview. Yeah.
We've had a lot of those lately.
You know, it's simply just just understanding what their needs are. Is it a roof repair? Is it a replacement? What materials have they looked at? Have they thought about it? How big is their house? You know, how old is their house? There's plenty of different questions you could potentially ask, but you should be asking at least the same 3 to 5 core questions on every single call before you spend time going out to the customer site.
And that's immediately going to, I say change, but it's going to improve, right? The amount of time you spend with a customer, your conversion rates overall, your close rates, knowing if your leads are qualified or not. So like if you're working with a lead generation company or marketing company and you're asking those same 3 to 5 questions and you're finding that every time you ask those questions, the leads that are coming in are not ready to buy, guess what? We talked about this last week. You're not hitting the right audience. You're wasting your money. And we don't want people to waste their money. That's the thing. Like, we're all in business to make money. Roofers, you know, you want to make money. Marketers want to make money. Lead generators, you know, we're all in business to make money. But like, we don't want to waste your money, right? And you don't want to waste your time. So if you're asking the questions, if you're tracking where your leads are coming from, whether it's from paid advertising, Google, Facebook, direct mail, have a system to track this, and then keep improving it. Don't just set it and forget it. It's a constant. You know, I'd say once a month.
Yeah.
You know, every 30 days, go in, look at the amount of leads you got, look at how many were closed, and what salesperson, you know, worked on those accounts, because you might have to train a salesperson a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know, it may not be, like I said, we're saying the problem here isn't the amount of leads, it's the sales process.
Yeah, no, I think that's important to call out. You know, you can have 1,000 leads, you can have 5 leads, right? But if I close 5 out of 5, it's better than closing 2 out of 100.
Right.
So I'd rather have a volume I can manage and know that I'm going to close every one of them. Something I want to kind of step back though with those leads and bringing it into the CRM. Another advantage to that CRM is those leads that weren't necessarily qualified now.
Yep.
That's what I'm going to do in 30 days.
Send them an email.
I'm going to get them on the phone.
You're going to get them on the phone.
I'm getting them on the phone, right?
Yeah.
You know, or sending them an email, sending them a text message. I'm going to put myself back in their mind again and ask them if they're ready to buy yet. So
in a tactful way.
Yeah, in a tactful way. So, you know, so that conversation for me sounds a lot like this. You know, it's really, you know, hey, Mr. Customer, you know, I really appreciated our conversation last month. Last month when we talked about this, and you said you weren't quite ready to make a decision yet. I'd love to just catch up with you and see if you're ready to make that decision, or if you had any other questions that I could answer that would help you make that decision.
Absolutely. And you do that every 30 days, by golly, one of those times they're going to buy the roof from you. Yeah,
exactly. So I want to kind of pick on leads lists a little bit, because I think it's a rabbit hole that you can go down really easily.
Yep.
You know, there's so many companies out there selling leads lists, whether it be phone numbers, email addresses, you know, physical addresses, all kinds of things like that. And they're all going to tell you that they vet their lists, and to a point they do, right? Yep. I'm not here to beat up on them, but really only probably about 10% of that list is probably actually going to be a potential lead. I wouldn't even call them a qualified lead, a potential lead.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you're thinking about how am I going to generate some leads, or how am I going to find people that I'm interested in contacting, think about the parts of your city that are most likely to have things like roof damage, older homes, those target areas that you know that if I make 30 or 40 calls in that area, I can at least get 2 or 3 people that I'm going to have a real conversation with.
Right, exactly.
So, not to say that don't use leads lists, just be cautious with leads lists. The companies that allow you to segregate to neighborhoods or specific zip codes are by far the best.
Yep.
Some of them even go even more micro than that. You can actually go by neighborhood,
division,
divisions, things like that. The more micro they go, the better it's going to be for you, because you can target better areas. I personally don't trust the leads from those companies that are like, yeah, we're going to get you leads from all over the greater Atlanta area. Right. There's
2 million people.
There's 2 million people. And, in some areas, the average age of house might only be 5 or 10 years old. So,
yeah.
I don't want to mess with those areas, because it's just not going to be, I don't see that as a lucrative area. So not to say there is an opportunity there, it's just not a lucrative opportunity.
Right, exactly. No, I totally agree with that. And I mean, the ultimate idea, the reason why we're, doing these videos and offering this help and advice is because not that lead lists aren't great, not that door knocking's not great, not that lead generation companies, but it's like we want to help you guys create your own system that works for you, that you can measure and improve. Because whether you're working with us or any other company, if you're not aware of how to measure these results, you're just going to keep wasting money. And that's the big thing for me is like, Adam, you've heard me say this, but I don't sleep well at night if my client's not getting the best bang for their buck. Yeah. And so, and it's the same with me. Like, have you ever made a purchase that you regret? You're like, I spent a ton of money on this and I'm not getting the satisfaction, whether it's a physical product or a service, right? Have you ever? Yeah.
Oh yeah. So. made many of those purchases over the years. I'm a little more tactful about my splurge purchases now.
Exactly. You learn and you're like, do I really want to? Can I demo it first? Right? Can I try this out? Can I? But it's every business owner is like, it's about the numbers. Yeah, it's about the people. What are your people doing? We've talked about that. But how do you measure the leads? How many leads are coming in? How many are getting converted? How are you delegating them? Who are you delegating them to? It sounds like a lot, but it's not, because these systems, the CRMs, do all that for you.
Yeah,
they lay it all out. They give you a nice, pretty report and tell you, what you made, what your projected rate is. If you keep going at this progress, you can project in 3 months, you could project how the rest of the year is going to go in 3 months. Like, you don't even have to like,
and the great thing I love about data, because I'm a data junkie, I'll build a spreadsheet for anything, is the more of it you have about your business, the more accurate your long-term projections are going to be. So if you have 5 years worth of sales data, with 5 years worth of data, I can tell you probably within about 3%, typically what you should expect over the next year.
If you don't change anything else.
Yep. So having that type of visibility in your business allows you to shift effectively and quickly. And talking about, return on investment, right? Your salespeople are an investment. You pay them, you have benefits for them, you have all the things that come with having an employee with your sales folks. So at the end of the day, they are an investment. Your website is an investment. Your lead generation tactics, all of that stuff is an investment in your business to see it grow. And so you really need to understand how to track and keep an eye on those investments, because just like a house or a business, in a larger scale, right? If you're losing on your investment, are you going to keep that investment?
Yeah.
So
no, you're not.
So, but if you don't know that you're losing, you could be bleeding money, year over year that you're not even aware of, because you have maybe, maybe your website isn't doing what it needs to be doing and generating enough leads, even though you're spending X amount of dollars on it every year or every month. You're spending money, you're paying somebody to manage your social media, but they're posting, once every couple of weeks, and you're not seeing any return on it. Like, that doesn't make sense to keep that person or to keep that service
right
in play if you're not going to get some value from it. And the same thing with salespeople. And it's not to say, oh, let's go fire every salesperson. It's just about managing your business in a smart way. And so everything you do, you should be looking at, how can I get return on that investment? And based on the position, there's different rates of return that you should expect, and based on your company. So, there's not one formula that I can sit here and tell you, your company should have 6 salesmen and you should see a 300% return on everything that they do. Right. That unfortunately isn't how people work. Right. And so.
Yeah. I mean, cause like door knocking is going to be, you have different tiers of the time things to take and the cost to get them done. So door knocking is going to be gas. It's going to be time. It's going to be, payroll, like wages, versus a website is going to be, a monthly investment, but it's going to be its own standalone system. But when you talked about salespeople and hiring, and you got to think of salespeople as they're representing your company. They're an investment, but like, if typically salespeople in a roofing company are the go-to person, they represent your company. They do the A through Z of the process. So if you don't have a system for qualifying leads, and you don't have accountability for the leads, you're gonna have, like you said, 6 salespeople all running around, going to different appointments, going to different things, and wasting a bunch of time. And the salespeople aren't going to like that. You're not going to like that. The customers definitely aren't going to like it, because there's nothing worse than a customer saying, and I've seen it before, a customer saying, you never got back to me, so we went with another company. How much does that burn? Like, that burns, right? You need a Band-Aid for that one, because that's
like walking by a $20 bill. It's just laying on the ground.
You just, So. It's you got to get back to people in a timely fashion. So how do you do it? Well, you're always going to get spam leads. You're going to get, we see our own clients get marketing spam. We'll SEO your site for blah. It's like, well, they are working with
we get marketing.
We get marketing spam as a marketing company. So it's all over. But what you got to look at again is the rate of return, and it's funny. So you have $5,000, right? You put $5,000 in X, you might get 10,000, right? So some business owners are happy with, as long as I cover the 5,000 and make an extra 1,000, I'm happy, right? That's these different forms of marketing, or advertising, I should say. Somebody else might take that 5,000 and make 20, and they're like, I'm happy with that. Some people are like, I'll take that 5 and make 100. It's like that. Those are the different pools of marketing between door knocking, direct mailers, a lead generation company, a website, monthly SEO, having a sales team do cold calls of outbound and say there's roof damage in your area. Like, all these different things are going to give you a different percentage of return. You have to figure out what you're going to be happy with. Are you going to be happy with spending 5,000 and getting 6,000 back, or spending 5,000 and getting 20,000 back? And then you have to measure and track which ones get you the best return.
Yep. I think that's important. And I want to add a caveat to that. From a business sense, if you're not doubling down on your top 2 methods, then you're wasting time.
Yep.
So
you want to at least get your money back and the same amount. So make the 5,000 and then get 5,000 on top of that if you're spending 5,000.
Yep. And whatever your top 2 methods are that you're generating the most revenue from, those are the ones that you need to push your team to spend the most time doing.
Yep.
So, and that could be door knocking. That could be direct mailers, that could be cold calling, whatever it is for your company. Every area, every company is a little bit different. Every salesperson is a little bit different.
Yep.
But make sure that you know which strategies with your company are performing the best and spend the most time on those.
Yep. And if you haven't tried digital marketing, and like we see people all the time that, you know, they've never gotten into it, or they just built the website to be like an online brochure. If you've tried marketing or tried, you know, Google AdWords or whatever and gave up on it, and you didn't measure it properly, the chances are it could work for you. Like, that's the other side of it, right? Because I'm going to be an advocate for the digital marketing, right? Like, if for your company door knocking works, fine, but do you just want to rely on door knocking? Enter COVID. Okay, you relied only on door knocking. What happens now? Your business is dead in the water because you didn't have multiple streams. So you were saying top two. I would say 2 to 3 streams of lead generation is going to be really good for your company. So, you know, if you do door knocking, combine that with direct mail and some digital paid campaigns, right? Kind of forgot where I was going on that, but yeah, you just want to measure. You want to have at least 3 forms of generating leads, and you want to measure them every month, every quarter, and see which ones are working best for you. But you can't, you know, don't say that you threw a website up and websites don't work when you haven't put forth the effort. Don't say door knocking or direct mailer doesn't work if you haven't put forth the effort and measured it. So basically what I'm saying is, if you try something once, it's not a good experiment. I think it's Brian Tracy or Jim Rohn. I follow Jim Rohn. Okay, he says you got to do something 9 times before you decide it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's just an overall thing in business. You know, try something make a call with a script 9 times. When you're going to a customer's house, ask the same 5 questions for 9 customers until you decide that those questions don't work. You know, we were talking earlier about disqualifying a lead that comes in the door, right? You know, use that script 5 times or 9 times to decide if it works or not.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. And I think digital is interesting, and we definitely, we are a digital marketing company, so we will definitely be talking about web pages in the near future on one of these, and what you should have on your web page, and some basic tips so that you can go back and look at your web page to see if you're really doing instilling the things that are going to make your page effective to be found. So
we generally find that 7 out of 10 web pages don't have the basic things they need to get conversions from a website, and they're pretty simple things that you can do. So, but yeah, I mean, all of that stuff in combination. So, I mean, in short, what did we cover today?
Man, we went over. It's not about leads; it's about conversions, and just really, diving into the thought process behind disqualifying leads that you're not going to make a sale to. Spending time on just really qualifying your customers.
So how many questions to ask, how to use that system every time to make sure you're disqualifying the client or qualifying the client before you get out there, so you're not wasting time and energy.
Yeah. We talked about a little bit about, what you can do, once you get to that qualified customer, what you can bring with you, bringing the right sales materials, bringing the right sales pitch with you. We were actually just talking about this the other day, and going off on a little tangent, but we're really talking about this, like with those 3 to 5 qualifying questions, you should be determining what sales strategy you're going to use to sell that customer, and you should have a couple in your bag, whether it be consultative, whether it be a little bit of the
show and tell
and tell. Yeah. So whatever works for your company and your style of selling, those qualifying questions help you bring that to the forefront. So
they help you be prepared to close the sale better. Yep.
So
because isn't it frustrating for a salesperson to talk to 10 people and land 1, or talk to 10 people and send all those estimates out? As a roofer, you send 10 estimates out and you don't hear back from any of them, and you're wondering, like, they just need I send them an estimate. They just need to sign it and send the money. Well, there's a reason why they haven't done it. You've missed something in the sales process that made them feel either comfortable or the value or the service is going to be there with your company to do business with you.
Yep.
It's just the bottom line. It's
Yep.
the reason why people do or do not do business with us, or the reason I do or do not do business with, a certain car dealership or a certain grocery store, because of the service and the quality of product that you get from them.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great call out. So, I think that pretty much wraps up what we talked about today. Definitely been fun with you guys today. Don't forget to check us out on the web. This is always so confusing.
No, it's backwards that way. My cameras flip everything.
SEO.com. We got our phone number over there as well. Give us a call. Find us on Facebook, LinkedIn. We'll make sure we drop those links into the comments as well for you all. But we definitely appreciate it. Next week, we are looking to bring a roofer onto the broadcast. We'd like to go through and talk a little bit about brand strategy and really help a roofer out with some brand strategy as we get through this. So if you're interested in doing that, reach out to us, either Josh Russo or Adam Sinkus. Reach out to us on Facebook, LinkedIn. Give us a call, send us an email. And go to our website, fill out a form.
Multiple ways to contact us. But we want to literally give away a brand strategy, part of a brand strategy to one roofing company that needs some clarity in their business. And, if you've ever worked out, if you've ever done personal development, if you've ever sat down and really figured out where you're going with something, you know that it makes a huge difference in anything you're doing, whether it's roofing business or any other type of business or in your personal life. We just want to help one roofing company get some clarity on their brand strategy so they can accelerate their business forward. And it's free. So
free of charge. All we ask is that you give a little bit to the world and come join us and hanging out live.
Yep.
So
all right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a wonderful week. And don't forget to check us out. Phone number, link. Yep. It's there. We'll get better at this. We'll see you all next week.
All right. Bye.